If you want juicy, tender pork and you're cooking for a whole lot of people, then use this method.
Big thanks to kamadojoe for sponsoring this episode.
Well, to do this method, Eric just arrived like 10 minutes ago. He jumped out of the car and he is here for a big show in Europe. If you don't know him, this is Eric Gebhardt. He's the culinary director of kamadojoe and he has a lot of experience cooking for enormous amounts of people. You know what happens? A group comes in, they have a glass of wine and somebody thinks they need to give a speech, but you just finish your cook and everything's messed up, everything's getting cold. But there's some tricks there that Eric's gonna give us how you can cook the food to perfection for a large group and just make it absolutely freaking delicious.
I want to take the pressure off everybody's shoulders and teach you a little something PITMASTERX and I like to call the barbecue pause button. Let's get into the action.
Of course, normally you're used to working with lots larger amounts of food, but I think for the two of us this will suffice.
This is great for the Konnected Joe, the classic size, and gorgeous looking pork. So this method, we call it the barbecue pause button, comes in handy when you've got friends and family coming over or you're cooking for large crowds. A lot of times I'm going to music festivals or film festivals around the world and I'm cooking for thousands of people. So this is a great way to get two different types of caramelization. You know, we're gonna go low and slow, and that allows us not just to impart smoke flavor with wood chunks or different seasonings that have smokiness into them, but it allows all that collagen and gelatin to break down and start dripping, and then we're smoking with the natural juices of the pork, which is a beautiful thing. That's as sexy as it gets.
If I cook for a large group, for me that would be like 10 people. Think ahead, you gotta calculate stuff, but I feel that the way that you do it makes it look so relaxed and like no problem at all. And I think
I'm gonna show you
how you can be stress-free.
Well, I think too, like people are intimidated by spending a large amount of money on a large piece of meat and messing it up. But think about how much more difficult it would be to cook 40 individual steaks for 40 people.
Yeah.
Right, and now you're buying, the butchers put the slice on each one of them, so you're paying for that extra stuff. This is a way less expensive way to approach cooking for a large group of people, and it simplifies it tenfold.
What do we need to do first?
So, great job sourcing this pork, all right? Always glad to be in the Netherlands. They do a great job with keeping this fat cap on there. What I want to do is I'm going to take my knife and we're going to scruff, I like to call it. So just tracing the top of that pork, and we're going to kind of do like a crosshatch.
How deep do you like to go?
Not very deep. I couldn't even say 1/8 of an inch, right? I just want enough so that we can cut through that fat cap, cut through any elastin that might be under there to allow smoke and seasoning to penetrate that fat cap. We're going to keep that fat content on there. You know, I mean, farmers have been laying down these genetics for years. It'd be a shame to trim that off. With the low and slow that we're going to do here, that's going to break down. Now, of course, elastin or silver skin doesn't break down, but we're mechanically tenderizing it by using our knife and coming across, so you won't feel that in the mouthfeel. We're going to use two different seasonings. So we've got PITMASTERX Texas. I love the granule look to that. I love how big and bold the chunks are. All right, that's going to help us not over caramelize, aka burn. And we don't season from right here, we season from above because all those different size granules will separate via gravity. Look at that. Salt, pepper, garlic. What else? I mean, that's Texas as it gets. What else do you have?
A little bit of onion powder, that's it. You can just make this yourself. Of course, we have sourced the top quality ingredients, so it's going to be a little bit better than what you can make at home. However, you can still replicate this, and that's the most important thing. We're going to leave the silver skin on in the back as well, right?
I mean, we can peel that off. I'll be honest with you, I'm always a fan of getting rid of that.
Okay.
You know, I do want to take that membrane off.
Just going to do the baby back trick. Go in underneath with a dinner knife. With baby back ribs, just use a dinner knife, and with larger ribs like the belly ribs or the St. Louis style cut ribs, I like to use a piece of paper.
Yeah, lovely. Well, it just comes right off. That's gorgeous.
Right.
So now that we've got the salty layer on there, notice that we're seasoning these up before we light the grill, right? There's going to be a little bit of time elapsed there. The salt that's going on first, we're going to take you back to 4th grade science class here. osmosis, right? The meat itself is made out of these semi-permeable membranes, these cells that allow liquid to pass in and pass out. So it's going to start wicking moisture out. That's our binder, really. Yeah. By using salt, I'm not, if I was from South Carolina, maybe we put some mustard on there. That's sacrilegious in North Carolina, okay? Right. So we got that beautiful salt layer on there. It's wicking moisture out, which is going to allow our second seasoning to tack up and stay on there really nicely. For the second seasoning, we've got this beautiful pork, which has got some chili powder in it, right? A little bit of heat.
This doesn't have any heat.
No, jeez. I want some heat.
Yeah.
I want some heat. Which one of these has got some heat?
We got the Tweety barbecue rub.
We're going to put down the salmon, though.
That we're going to put stone down on everything. I think you're going to like this one. Actually, I really want you to try this one because it has a European style flavor profile for pork.
Let me get a little right here. I like it because it was red. I assumed chili powder, paprika, cayenne, those sorts of things.
No, nothing crazy.
Oh, that's fun. Got a bit of salt for it too.
But it's a little bit different than what you used to in the U.S. on barbecue seasoning.
Yeah, because in the U.S. you see oftentimes a lot of sweet. So we got these beauties seasoned up. Now it's time to go ahead and light the grill. Today we're using the kamadojoe Konnected Joe. We just want to fill our firebox, I don't know, call it 20% full. So by using minimal amount of charcoal, we're not going to overshoot even when using the digital thermostat when we're showing folks what's going on versus packing that whole firebox full of a ton of charcoal.
So use less fuel.
Again, that's it, all right? And no raking to one side or anything like that. I'm just going to reach down here and push the little lightning bolt. Boom, that little element in the bottom's heating up, and then we're going to have ignition in about 6 to 7 minutes. I'm going to close this dome here. Let's go ahead too. We'll push this little temperature probe button. Today I'm thinking we go about, let's do 275. Let's start out at, let's do 300 Fahrenheit.
300?
Which one did we want to do, 275 or 300?
This is your thing.
Well, let's do it 300. It's going to tell me exactly what to do with the control tower. I've got the draft door on the bottom completely closed.
The funny thing is that I see Eric doing exactly what it says on the menu. Personally, I always have a problem. It's like
somebody telling you how to live your life?
Like the Google Maps when you're driving your car and it says turn left, you're thinking like, well, yeah, but I can also go straight.
Even grab those babies or leave them there and bring them over?
Well, eventually we need to bring them over. I'll give them to you.
Okay.
Yeah?
You can just...
300, spot on.
I mean, like legit, we're reading it on the thermometer, we're reading it on the top thermometer, we're digital, we're analog, we're all the things.
We're all over the place.
Yeah, so I want to put, we're not all over the place, we're spot on, we're spot on. All right, so I'm gonna put this grill grate at the top portion of the divide and conquer system, and then I'm gonna sneak in one of those half moon deflector shields under it.
In between, you told me we consciously didn't put it in before. We're doing it in now while the barbecue's hot and not just heat it up with the barbecue.
Right, because we want that slow caramelization, and so by putting a cold grill grate or an ambient temperature grill grate in there, we're not getting that sear, that caramelization right off the bat, right? We want to take our time with it. We're also going to throw in some of these really cool branded Pitmaster. Yeah, I'd never seen that. That's really slick. What is this? Oak, hickory?
This is oak.
Oak, perfect.
Because I thought with pork we can use a little heavier. If we're using fish, I like to use beach, for instance.
Well, I'm going to sneak that right into the hottest portion of my coals and wait till we get combustion. That's when I'd put that other deflector shield in. People ask about good smoke versus bad smoke. You don't want this white, billowy, plumy, large particulate bitter smoke. You want it to combust, and that way we get that translucent blue smoke. And we're gonna start fat cap side down. Now that's a bit controversial as well. Let's go, oh, thank you. We're gonna go fat cap side down. And a lot of my friends in Texas like to go the opposite direction, and we do have ribs there that could help as almost another rack, deflector shield. Sometimes I like to use the ribs there, but I want to start that caramelization, that rendering process on the fat cap. I want to love the way that top looks before I flip it over. We're going to take a look in about 15-20 minutes and see if we need to rotate a little bit or how we're looking, but this is that we're on our way.
And when do you would recommend people start? If you're cooking for a large group, when do you fire up your grill?
Yeah, so when I do this for large parties on a pork loin, I'll start at least an hour and a half before people show up. 30 minutes later, we're still here. Still got a good bit of smoke coming.
Nice.
So let's take a look at the magic. Oh yeah, baby.
Wow.
Yeah. Great bark, great caramelization. Look at that give, still squishy, right? That tells me we're right at that 130-ish that we want to be at. Now, because we're indirect here, because we've used such little amount of charcoal or a small amount of charcoal, if we were doing a show, we could let this rest as is. Dome up. You know, I mean, at this point, there's not much charcoal left in there, okay? We're really using the residual heat from the actual ceramic to keep things warm. Now would be an opportune time as well to take these off and put more on, right?
Yeah.
And then once you like the caramelization, put those ones that are already cooked just like this to that 130 on top of the other ones that are still coming up and treat it as one larger roast, but we're managing caramelization. But I want to, for us, just go ahead and pull these off onto the cutting board and let them rest. Now again, they're at 130 internal temperature. A finishing temperature is probably 145 Fahrenheit, so we're 15 degrees. It's still gonna look rather medium rare here. Once we let this rest, and we can let this rest for as long as we want to, it's the slice open and the reverse sear that's gonna bring it back to temperature whenever we want it to be. So
See, and that takes the stress out of the whole thing.
Zero
You don't
stress.
have to worry now anymore. You're almost there.
Yeah.
You just need to finish it off.
Pause button.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
This
You can
is
take a nap if you want to.
this
Just
is
got
the
off plane.
little jet lag. This is the most difficult part of barbecue generally is the rest period, except not in this instance because again we push pause. This is only getting better.
Basically, if you got time, resting is your friend. If you don't have time, resting is your enemy.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
We're going to really rest, right?
I mean, through the magic of TV. These beauties are almost done resting. What I do want to do though, since we're going to do this reverse here, let's say it's been an hour, it's been 2 hours, it's been 3 hours. These beauties are hanging out here. I want to add a little bit more charcoal to this and crank up the temperature so we can do that finishing part of the show. We are adding more big block.
It's the teamwork.
Yeah.
It's the teamwork that makes the dream work.
That's right. Let's go ahead and carve these bones off because, or ribs rather, because again, I want to season that side and I want to have, oh my gosh, look at the succulent nature of that. Apply a little bit more seasoning to that newly revealed side. And we're just going to kind of put that indirect. We'll do the same thing with the other loin. Pretty that is, really nice. But I want to slice it one more time down the middle. And again, kind of create loins. But that is 90% cooked and absolutely succulent. And again, this piece right here, that surface area has not seen seasoning or smoke or sear. And then we're going right. That's what we want to hear, right down on those coals.
And you're choosing the Texas barbecue rub because it's more coarse in structure.
Coarse in structure, salty. You know, salt doesn't just make things salty, it amplifies flavors. And now we're just kind of flipping. Maybe if we were basting with a barbecue sauce, we'd be basting right now. Perhaps we'd come over with a little bit of Jack Daniel's Fire right over top. You know, we'll do what we want to do. And then get in there with long tongs while it's on fire, kind of pull it out while it's still on fire. That's kind of fun.
How do you still have a beard?
Yeah, you know. Long tongs.
Must say I'm getting hungry now.
Yeah, you know, it's funny how a little bit of showmanship really drives that craveability. Plus a mountain of meat. You know,
I think that's it.
Is that it?
If you put it on a big show like that and you show it to people, they get so hungry. At least I get so hungry.
Yeah, you should. I mean, there's a craveability to it. There's scratching that primal itch, you know, that some of us may have forgotten about in our 9-to-5 weekly jobs.
Yeah. Keyboard warriors over there.
Yeah. Look at that.
Oh, that looks good. That pork's so juicy, cooked to perfection.
Thank you. And it was the pause button, right? So we could have done that an hour from now or 30 minutes ago. Notice how I sliced it once with the grain, and now I'm gonna, every slice that I do is 2 bites. I don't wanna go too thin on this because this is good high quality pork. So I'm looking at about 1/4 of an inch here.
Nice.
Nice bark. So what I mean by that is I can take it as it was shingled and kind of stack it, give it a little positive pressure.
Yeah. Look at that. This is for a lot of people. This is food and...
This is a half, like a loin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then tracing those bones. Don't forget to dab each side of those bones in that board sauce. Blip, blip, blip,
This is
blip.
like for 40 people meat.
It could, you know, if you have the right amount of vegetables and a starch.
Yeah, let's just say you're cooking for a large crowd of people and you're...
Super simple. Are you ready for the most simple sauce you've ever seen in your entire life? Good local honey. Dun, 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 dun. And for what we have, that's probably enough. Do me a favor. Perfect. I like to use a glass cup for this because it's so fun to be able to see it through the sides. All right, now do me a favor and slowly lift up that spoon and show me that liquid stained glass as high as you can. Yeah, let's see. Oh my gosh, this is fun. This is the arts of culinary arts. Stop it. That is naughty.
This is like what you can have people do at your party.
Yeah, you get them involved.
Uncle Bob, come here.
If they get, and you tell them if they spill a little bit, you say, well, listen, if you don't get it on yourself, you're not doing it right. I just made a barbecue honey sauce. And it was the most simple, non-cooked sauce there ever was. And then maybe we leave a little bit for them to dip with. Okay, you're just having fun over here now. You're just having fun. I like it.
All right.
You going in for the rib?
Yeah, look at it, man.
Yeah. I like to get a little dip. Simple things done perfectly win every time. Pause button method.
That's it. Let's show Eric some appreciation. Comment down below. Check out his Instagram handle, Eric Gebhardt. And well, when's your next visit?
Well, I'm here right now. Let's focus on that. Ich smakelijk.